When you wonder where your milk comes from,
it actually starts with care. Every day we feed our cows.
We make sure their space is clean. We work together
as a team.
We are patient and responsible.
Then fresh milk is collected
from happy cows,
from caring hands,
from sugar.
Cottonwood Farms,
fresh from our farms.
All sugar!
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Cottonwood Dairy Virtual Chat. I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and today is going to be so much fun. We have Farmer Tim on standby. I can see all those questions and comments and everyone checking in on that chat. And we have two of the cutest calves ready for their close-ups, Honey and Sugar. This event is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 48,000 classes and 2.1 million students all join this program for free, thanks to our incredible supporters at the Dairy Management West and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. Now, if you're already excited for next year, make sure to mark your calendars because on May 1st, you can re-enroll for the program for next school year. Go to discoverdairy.com/adopt once registration is open and you can be signed up to get a new calf. And we'd love for you to share it with your friends too. And because this event is live, we want to hear from you in that chat. So go ahead and drop those comments. Let us know where you're joining from. We're so excited to have a lot of excitement and energy in that chat. Speaking of, let's see who's joining us today. So one of the first people to join us, wow, you guys are already really active. Sorry, I'm scrolling all the way up to the top. Here we go. One of the first folks to join us today is a class from Merced, California, who's here to see Honey. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have some folks who adopted Sugar from Thousand Oaks, California. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We've got a class from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello and welcome. We're excited that you're here, and we are excited to meet Honey too. Let's see. We've got some folks from Stockton, California. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us. Mrs. Deaton's second grade class from Banning, California. Hello, and they're excited to meet Sugar. Let's do a couple more here. We've got a third grade class from Los Angeles, California. Hello and welcome, third graders. We're excited to have you. And how about we have some folks from Vacaville in California as well, and they are an ELD class. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. How about one more here? We've got some first graders from Henderson, Nevada, who are excited to see Honey. We are excited to see Honey too. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you, and of course, excited to see our calves and get to chat with Farmer Tim. Speaking of Farmer Tim, I am so excited to introduce you to him finally. Hey, Farmer Tim, how are you doing today?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cottonwood Dairy. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. We do have two calves here that are pretty excited to meet y'all. So,
yay. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Farmer Tim, for making time for us today and letting us kind of just step onto your farm for a couple minutes, get to chat with you, get some questions answered. That I will tell you right now, this chat is blowing up with many things already. So I hope you're ready for some questions later. But before we get there, we'd love for you to just remind us who you are, Farmer Tim. I know many of us have gotten to know you, but there could be some folks that are joining us for the first time. So tell us a little bit about you and your farm.
Well, so we are here at Cottonwood Dairy. Our dairy was established back in 1958, so we've been around here for a few years. Before that, my great-grandfather began homesteading here in the area. So our roots go pretty deep here in Fallon, and But we have currently milking about 1,700 cows. We have a total of about 3,500 from babies all the way up to old mama cows. We farm about 3,000 acres around the valley, and it keeps us busy. It's myself and my brother, my two cousins are partners in this. My dad and my uncle are kind of semi-retired, so they're there. They kind of help keep us in line, but for the most part, we're running things, and we got about 20 employees who help us keep things running and keep these cows healthy and happy.
Yeah, well, you certainly would need at least 20 employees. That's a lot of cows. So that's still not right. That's still not one-to-one ratio. So how do you, as a farmer, help to manage and keep track of all of those animals and all of those acres? Too, 3,000 acres is a lot to keep track of. So, but especially the cows. What's your trick to managing all of those animals?
Technology is wonderful. You know, you guys utilize computers so much more than I did. You have these amazing phones that do such just wonderful things. So we have apps that we utilize that help us keep track of all of our cows, helps us keep track.
Oh, we just lost Farmer Tim. We'll hopefully get him back, but I know he was just talking about how they use technology on their farm to track everything. And I know Farmer Tim has shared this with me, and we've talked a little bit about it in the updates that they pretty much wear something like a Fitbit, like what we wear. And it tracks everything that they do, and Farmer Tim can see all of those reports. We're getting Farmer Tim back here. I was just filling everyone in. I know we've chatted about this before, but I'll let you continue that you use technology and your phone to track all of the animals. I'll let you
All right, and as we see, technology is not perfect. So, tool, we have to have this. Without this technology, it would be impossible for us to do this without employees. So that's one great thing about the age that we live in right now is the technology makes things possible for us to take care of our animals. They all have their little name tags, so we can keep track of every cow. So all of her vital information that we need is all right there at my fingertips. So that helps me as I'm driving through and checking on my animals. Any cow, I can just put her number into my app, and it brings up when she's born, how old she is, where she's at, what's on, what pen she's in, and all those things correlate with how we take care of them. What kind of feed they're getting, how often we're out in the pen with them. All that kind of correlates with that app, with that program. So it's a great thing. And the same thing on our farming side. We have programs that help us keep track of all the different crops we grow, helps us keep track of all of our equipment, the maintenance. I mean, there's just a list of things that technology helps us keep track of.
Sure. Wow. That's incredible. I love how there's so much that has changed about dairy farming and farming in general. And I mean, in the last 5 years, but especially in the last 50 years, as we see technology really change how we farm. So I love that. I love that you all have been able to embrace it, just like many farms have across the country, and use that to your advantage and be able to essentially have a virtual set of eyes on every single cow at all times, making sure they have the best care, right? So I love that. Very cool. So, Farmer Tim, we've loved getting to know you throughout the year and see some of your photos, and we've loved getting to know the farm. But I do think Honey and Sugar have been the favorites throughout the whole year. So, if we could, we'd love to get to see some photos of our sweet girls and see how they're doing. Oh man. So let's see. So it's a well, hopefully it'll clear up here a little bit, but we can see them. So while we hang out here, and of course they're gonna back away from us and be a little curious. Hopefully they'll come check us out. So we've got Honey and Sugar, and remind me, when they were born, right? They were only like 29, 30 inches and like 80 to 90 pounds.
Yep.
And I know at 6 months, we had said they were about 470, 480 pounds and 44 inches tall. So a month later, how much bigger do you think they are now?
Well, they're probably 550 pounds, 500, 550, right in there. And they're probably, they're a good, I mean, 50 inches, 48 inches high at their shoulders there. So they grow quite a bit at this stage in their life. So
Goodness. Yeah. So that's amazing that we can see so much growth in just 1 month. Hey, our camera lady, we can see a little bit of finger at the top corner, just FYI. There you go. Um, it's amazing how much they grow in just such a short period of time. Um, what helps them grow? What do you, Farmer Tim, do to help make sure that they're growing at a good pace? And just what are some of those things that they need?
Understanding exactly the nutrients that they need, that their bodies need, is really important. And that comes down to the technology that we have is such a tool for us. And as we're able to understand those things better, we know exactly what kind of feed they need. Like when they're on milk as babies, we know exactly how long they need to be on that milk to get the most growth that they can get. And then we transition them over to like things like grains, corns, barleys, wheats, things like that. And as we transition them onto that at the right time, that'll continue to help their bodies to grow. So right now, basically, all this energy they're eating from this feed is all going towards helping them to grow tall and strong. So right now, they're eating things like grain corn, corn silage, dry alfalfa bale, like a haylage, so a green chop hay, a green chop alfalfa. We'll put things in there like cottonseed and just different things like that that just help keep them growing strong.
Yeah. So their diet changes as they get older. And you mentioned something kind of cool there. You mentioned cottonseed. Can you talk a little bit about just, I think what's so cool about that, right? Like that's not something that we as humans can eat, and that's actually a byproduct of us producing cotton, right? And cows are just amazing that they can eat that.
Yeah, you're correct. Before they realized that cattle could eat that, it was a waste. It was something that they just burned or threw away. And so now they know that there's these byproducts that we can take and we can actually feed them to these cattle, and they're just so healthy for them. Cottonseed comes from the production of cotton for making clothing, making cloth, and all those things. And that's a really good source of protein for them. Canola seed, they take the oil from it to use in cooking. Well, there's a byproduct. There's what's left of after they compress it, and that they can take that and we can feed it to our cows as well. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, they are really taking our waste and turning that into energy. And then right now they're not producing milk, right? But once they are old enough, they'll make our waste into milk, which that is just mind blowing to me.
Yep, exactly right. Everything they eat now goes towards just growing their bodies. That's what they're all focused on. They got to get big and strong. So that's all the energy goes to that. And then once they are old enough to start producing milk, then we change their ration again. So they have a different ration that's concentrated on helping them with milk production and keeping their bodies healthy.
Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. So, Farmer Tim, we have a lot of questions coming in. So I'm going to try and get through as many of these as we can in the next, goodness, 15 minutes already. Let's see. So we did have some folks asking, just to confirm, are they producing milk right now?
Oh, hold on, I'm having some audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Here we go. I got you back.
Good. So we had some folks curious. We just learned, right? They're not producing milk right now, but when will they start producing milk?
So at about 2 years old. So when they're about 2 years old, they'll be ready to start producing milk.
Huh.
They'll have their first calf, and that's when they'll start producing that milk. So that's always kind of the target age we look for, because that's the right amount of time to get them big and strong enough to be able to have a baby, and then be ready to go once they do to be producing milk.
Awesome. So 2 years old, I mean, maybe to us as humans sounds young, but that's like one cow year is kind of like 10 human years, right? So that's essentially like a 20-year-old in real life.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, we're curious, does Sugar or Honey do they have any siblings at all?
Sugar does not, but Honey does. Honey had, and it was a male, a bull calf. So so he's not here anymore. He was sold, and he's hanging out at another place. But but they do have one sibling.
Awesome. So, and that essentially means then that the other one, her mom is a first-time mom, right? So she hadn't had a calf before. How often do they have a calf? Is that once a year, more often, less often, that kind of thing?
Once a year. That's what we want. It's important when they're having babies. It's really important, and then producing milk. It's really important that about 3 months before they have their calf, we need to stop milking them, and we put them off in a pen where they can just rest and relax for about 3 months, and that gives their body time to prepare itself to have that calf. And it's also very healthy for their udder, where they produce the milk. That needs time to stop producing milk, and the cells need to just relax and stop working so hard. And they get that 3 months, and then once they have that next calf, all those cells start being active again, and it's really healthy. It's really good for them to just keep their bodies as fit and as strong as they can be in order to produce milk.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it's only once a year. Do you ever see twins or triplets or anything like that? Or is it typically just one calf at a time?
Typically one, but we will get twins. I don't know if there's really any scientific number that I could say we have this many twins, but it's very random. But we did just have a set of twins here about 4 or 5 days ago, so it does happen. But not all the time. Typically, it's just one calf.
Sure, nice. We had a good question from Miss Van Hansia's class. They were curious: do cows sleep standing up?
That is a good question. I don't think they do. They are much more comfortable laying down. So the cow tipping myth, I think it's a myth. I don't know. I don't think it's real, unless you're really, really like ninja stealthy and can get close to one while they're standing. Because I think they're pretty aware. Just the way cows see, their eyes, they can actually see behind them. So if they're there and they got their eyes open, they're going to see you coming at them no matter what direction you come from. And I have yet to come upon a cow sleeping standing up. Can't say that's not true, but I haven't found one yet, and I'm with cows every day. So,
right, all right. Hey, it's coming right from Farmer Tim. I would agree with Farmer Tim. Probably not. I think I would prefer to sleep laying down anyway. So I think they're onto something here.
That's a great question, though. I like that.
Right, it is. This is an interesting question too. They're curious: are cows allergic to anything? Have you ever noticed a cow being allergic to anything, or have special dietary needs or anything like that? Because as humans, we certainly see that a lot.
Their cattle are hardy. They're very hardy. And one common thing that we'll see is sometimes they'll be irritated by the sun, like their skin, their hide. So sometimes they'll very, very rarely, but it's almost like a sunburn. They'll get a little bit on their backs, but just a little bit of a balm, a cream takes care of that. But really, for the most part, cattle they're hardy. I mean, they're designed hardy. They're incredible animals, and I've yet to really see any kind of an allergy. They'll get sometimes the sun will kind of bug their eyes, and they'll kind of get maybe a little growth on their eye.
Sure.
But that's really, and those are very simple just to remove. But for the most part, they'll get warts sometimes at a certain age, kind of when they're younger. They'll just kind of develop some warts on a lot of times it's kind of on their face a little bit. And it's just an age thing. It's just kind of they're growing up, they'll get some warts and here and there, nothing serious. Pretty simple stuff, but not very common. I mean, it's not very common at all.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and of course, right, you as the farmer, you're making sure that they're getting things that are healthy for their diet anyway. It's not like they can eat whatever they want, like we as humans can kind of go wherever. So that's helping for sure that they're not maybe getting into some trouble and getting into something they shouldn't be. So.
Oh, big time. I mean, that's like responsibility number one. Is these cows have got to be comfortable and they've got to be happy. And if they're not eating the right feed, their stomachs are going to tell them. They're going to feel the upset stomach, and they're not going to. And you see it in their face, their eyes, even in their body. They'll start losing weight if they're not feeling good because they're not eating. And it's just because they go so fast that we have got to be monitoring them every day to ensure that they're eating all that they should be eating. And if they're not, then we go in and we figure out what's going on. Are we sick? They get common things. I mean, they can get like a cold. They'll pick up pneumonia. I mean, those are things like with people where it's like, oh no, pneumonia is not super common. In cows, it is a little more common. They'll pick up some lung stuff here and there, but we have great medicines that take care of it. It's a wonderful thing. So,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, like you as a farmer are going to handle what you can on your own, but you always have the veterinarian on standby to be able to help with anything that needs to be helped with. And of course, making sure medicines are given appropriately and things like that. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's how do you, Farmer Tim, recognize if a calf isn't feeling well so you know to help her feel better? Because it's not like she can tell you, oh, my stomach hurts or I feel like I have a fever. So, how do you know if a cow needs help?
So it's all in their, it's all in body language. And that's
Hmm.
something you learn just from time working with them. Their ears will droop, their eyes will get kind of glassy, and they'll actually kind of sink in a little bit. You'll notice they're on their sides, you'll start seeing ribs form. If you can see the ribs in their sides pretty predominant, then you know she's not eating like she should. A
Sure.
lot of times when we feed them, when the truck comes by and feeds them their feed, they're
Hmm.
excited. The whole pen runs up to eat. If you see one sitting in the back when the feed's coming down, you know there's something off because they
Gotcha.
all want to get up and eat. So
Sure.
just watching for body language.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. Yeah, you have to be very attentive to catch those things. Good. A good question here. We're curious, do cows ever get a bath?
Well, when it rains, they'll get a little bit of a bath. We just had a rainstorm a few days ago. Actually, we don't get a lot of rain out here. We're kind of in the high desert area in Nevada. So, and that's why, as you can see, we have these open corrals. We do have shades for protection from rain and from protection from the sun in the summer, but we don't get a lot of rain. So they don't get a lot of baths as young heifers. Inside our milking parlor in the summertime when it is hot outside, we do have sprinklers in there that runs above them and it wets their backs really good. And then we have fans that blow air on them and that helps to cool them down so fast. And that's
Wow.
one thing we do to try to help them in the hot summers because we do get hot here in the summertime and it really helps them to cool off while they're getting milked and then be able to go back to their pens nice and cool. They go lay down in the shade and just take it easy. So when they get older, they do get some showers in the summertime.
Oh, very nice. So Mother Nature is giving them a bath.
Yep.
And the sprinklers. Let's see. So we see our two girls kind of hanging out in the pen together, and they're kind of just minding their own business. But we're curious. Do you notice them palling off and playing? Do you notice them hanging out with other cows? Just in general, like how do you what does it look like for cows to socialize and play and have fun?
Good question. They love being in groups. In fact, sometimes when they get out of their pen, which happens every now and again, they're able to squeeze out somewhere. They won't run off and be by themselves. They will stay right next to the pen, and they just want to hang out together. So
Wow.
they're very much a herd animal. These two are pretty funny. Honey is a lot more like aggressive, I would say. Like she likes to go and kind of play and go and initiate. And Sugar is a lot more laid back. She's one who I notice she just kind of hangs out in the back. I mean, she's a little bit smaller, and sometimes that has a kind of plays into that.
Sure.
But they kind of have little personalities. You'll see some cows that are very standoffish, and you'll see other cows that are shoving their heads through the fence trying to lick you. So it's pretty cool how they are kind of unique in that way. Just like no cow has the same pattern on their hide, like their coloring. Everyone is different. From a distance, you just see, oh yeah, black and white cows. There they are. But as you come close and look at them, every single one of these animals has a different pattern. So they're not the same. They're unique, and that's why it's important to understand that we're not just raising a herd of cows. We're taking care of each of these cows uniquely, individually, to make sure that they're healthy and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you're mentioning that they can get nosy because I would say all of the cows behind you are being very nosy at the moment, trying to figure out what is Farmer Tim doing in our pen and why can't we get to the Honey and Sugar right now?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, they are.
oh, they're confused. But hey, we'll let Honey and Sugar back in just a few minutes. We're almost done, guys. I promise. A good question from Miss Dearborn's fifth grade class. They're curious: are cows milked by hand or by machine? And can we just talk about that milking process in general?
Yeah, it's all by machine. It's incredible. My great grandpa and my grandpa, they would milk by hand, but they could only milk 40, 50 cows. I mean, that's all you could handle doing that. And now with the machines, it's incredible because it works off of vacuum and it works off of sensors. So it's all technology, runs
Wow.
off of computer programs. And with those machines, what it can do is as you apply it, it senses the amount of milk that's flowing It senses when that flow gets to a certain point where it's starting to, she's starting to empty out her udder. And once it gets to a certain point of that flow gets diminished, it'll actually shake and it pulls off of the cow. So it's a pretty incredible thing to watch and behold. And it's a tool that we utilize that allows us to do this. It allows me to be a farmer. Without these tools, it'd be nearly impossible today to be able to have a dairy farm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. So yeah, definitely not by hand anymore, but we are milking them by machine, and that process is really relaxing, right? And it's short. Talk about that specifically.
Yeah, so I mean, 2 to 3 minutes. Sometimes they'll take a little longer. Some cows will produce more milk. It's just it's a unique thing, but for the most part, it's about a 2 to 3 minute process of actually milking. So as they come in the barn, I mean, they'll be in there getting actually milked. I bet you. I mean, at tops 4 minutes, and then the machines are off, and then we letting them out, and they're going back to their pen. I mean, we don't want them inside of our barn longer than, let's say, an hour, to get through an entire pen, because our pens are about 250 cows. So we want to bring that pen inside the barn. In the summertime, we're cooling them off. In the wintertime, it's warm inside there. And so they're hanging out, they're happy, but we want to get them through there as quick as we can. That way we get them back out to their pens. And when they're comfortable and they're happy, they're all laying down and they're hanging out and they're chewing like these cows here in front of the camera to the left a little bit, they're chewing their cud. So they're just sitting there chewing and chewing and chewing. So they actually regurgitate as they eat their food, they swallow it, and they eat it and they swallow it. They don't do a lot of chewing. And once their first stomach is big and full of feed, they'll go sit down and they'll actually bring that food back up from their stomach into their mouth, and they'll chew on it while they're laying down. And that's what we call it. It's called chewing their cud. That's what they're doing. And they're chewing and chewing and chewing, and that helps the digestion process. So they can get feed digested through and turn into milk and energy and stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, that's a big reason why they can eat all those things we talked about earlier that we can't. They're able to get the nutrition out of it. So they're not chewing bubble gum. I'm glad we debunked that. Very good.
Not chewing bubble gum, yes.
We've had some folks asking about how much milk can a cow produce in a day? And do you have any idea how much milk your whole herd produces in a day?
Oh, yeah. So right now we produce like 20,000 gallons of milk a day as a whole herd. But, a good cow, she'll give like probably about 10 gallons of milk a day.
Wow.
So, but it varies. It can be a little less than that, and it can be quite a bit more. But on average, right around there, probably about 10 gallons-ish a day or so is about where they're at.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of milk. So where does that milk go then after it leaves your farm? Do you happen to know like a brand name or a store or anything like that where the milk ends up going?
So we do have a bottling company over here in Reno, Model Dairy. But it's a local company. So they'll bottle it into fluid milk, and they'll do cottage cheese and sour creams and things like that. And then there's a plant that we ship to through our co-op. Mm-hmm. So they buy our milk, actually turn it into different ingredients, different products. They can do a myriad of different things, but it's designed to be exported. And to export means we want to send it out of our country to other places so that they can have this healthy, nutritious milk as well. They can enjoy it as well.
So cool. So your milk is traveling all around the world, which is just really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Going down to Asia, South America, Mexico, a lot of really, and across the United States, goes to different places. It's a pretty cool thing to do. So.
Yeah, very cool. I love that. We had a funny question here that we'll try to get in here real quick. They were curious, have you ever had a cow escape the farm or escape their pen? Have you ever had some nixnutzy calves?
Oh yeah, we've had entire pens get out. Imagine that, we got 250 cows running around. You got to go get in. So yes, it happens. We do not want it to happen, but it does. It's always an adventure because we got to go round them all up, and it always happens in the middle of the night. It never happens in the daytime where it's convenient. It's always in the middle of the night where we get woken up. So it happens. People don't shut a gate correctly, or people see the drinks and it allows some especially to walk through the gate or through the fence. So it happens, not very often, but it's always an adventure because family. I get my kids up and they come out and we get on our four-wheelers and our trucks and just got to round them up and put them back in.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Too funny. Um, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Farmer Tim. I'm not sure why our audio got a little tricky. We can hear you, but I don't know if the wind picked up or not. I'm gonna just mute you for a second here while I just recap on some things, and then I'll bring you. You're right there. I just want to help with the audio a little bit. So, but thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. This has just been an amazing opportunity. You all have just had amazing questions too. So thank you for sharing such amazing questions. Farmer Tim, I want to wrap up here today with just one more question. And this one's kind of geared more towards you. So I'm curious, what's your why, right? Like you've talked about how you're milking the cows all the time. You've got 3,000 acres to take care of. This is a lot of animals, a lot of cows, and a lot of people to manage. Sounds like a lot of hard work, but we'd love to know what your why is behind all of this.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And some of my earliest memories of my childhood are with my dad, and we're out here working.
Mm.
And just being able to be with him. There's not very many jobs that you can your kid or whenever you want to. With directed me to it, just working outside. I've really always enjoyed that. Being up early, out irrigating crops, just the smells, the sights, the feelings that come are pretty unique. That's not something that everybody gets to experience. Only 2% of our country farms, so there's very few people now who provide food for everybody. 8% of the people in our country, aren't able to do this. So I feel very, very blessed, very lucky that I can do this, and I can bring my kids with me to work. I can work with them. I can teach them. There's just skills and there's life lessons and things that you learn from. So they're stubborn, they're hard. Cows are big. You can't move them. I can't go pick up a cow and move it. She weighs 1,700 pounds. I can't hardly move these guys around, and they're only 8 months old. So you learn a lot. There's a lot of lessons you learn, and working with family, that's a big part. I've really enjoyed that, being able to be a part of a family business that's been multi-generational, and being able to just to carry on with that. So
Yeah, and I think it's a testimony to your family, right? You've been around for a number of years, almost 70 years, right? You said 1958, I think. Yeah. So you're not around that long unless you're doing something right. So we just truly thank you so much for your dedication to the industry, your family, and for giving up that 9 to 5 opportunity for providing an amazing product for all of us to enjoy. Because I would not do well without my ice cream. So thank you very much, Farmer Tim, for all of those.
But me neither.
For all those delicious products. We just really are thankful for you and all the farmers across the country. Is there anything else that you wanted to share before we tune off today?
Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate you caring about my animals. We care about. I love seeing your enthusiasm for them, and I just encourage any of you out there. If you want to get into agriculture, don't be afraid. There's opportunities out there where you can work with animals. You can. There's technology you can be a part of. There's on medical side with pharmaceutical and veterinary. There's just so many things, and if that's something that interests you, I would encourage it. Don't be afraid to go out and work with animals. It's a great thing.
It is. It's definitely rewarding. This has been an amazing visit today. Thank you so much, Farmer Tim, for opening your barn doors and letting us see Sugar and Honey. I'm so glad to see that they're doing so well. They're getting so big, and I know they're only going to get bigger. But it's exciting to know that they are doing well and will live a very happy life on your farm. And thank you all to our teachers, our students, our classes, libraries, assisted living centers, homeschools, whoever's on with us today. Thank you so much for being part of this program and choosing to have agriculture in the classroom. Also, your great questions today. You have brought so much excitement into that chat. So thank you so much for just being part of something that we really enjoy sharing with you. So we hope you had fun learning about life on the dairy farm and following your calves' growth throughout the year. If you love this experience and want to join again, don't forget May 1st. You can go ahead and re-enroll at discoverdairy.com/adopt. And we'd love to have you back, and we'd love for you to bring a friend. So bring on over any other students, teachers, classes. We'd love to have you. So from all of us at Discover Dairy and Cottonwood Dairy, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep learning, keep growing, keep exploring, and we hope to see you again